I'm Dave Gray, and this week I learned it doesn't matter how far I run and hide. It just matters how hard I tried, and I keep that in mind. I forget the lyrics. I'm sorry, T. I tried to remember some Limp Bizkit for you, but no.
Hi, I'm Kevin Matthews, a Scottish film fan living in England, and I will not be limping with the biscuit at all this week. I am, I basically am a limp biscuit because it's been another week of early shifts for me. There was a day job and we don't watch movies and podcasts, and it's really late now. So Dave is the upright, strong wafer, and I am the limpy biscuit.
Yay!
And this is Raiders of a Podcast.
Double yay!
Yay! I got to see a couple of things. Now I got confused, and I've tried to check back on last week's Dave, so people can let us know if I repeat myself. But I'm pretty sure Craig was talking about the Last House last week.
Yes.
And I finally got to watch it. So Craig liked it more than I did. There was a bit of a turn up for the books. Didn't even get a Kevin 7. Got a 6 from me. I know what he means about the there was some good creature design in there, but it's a bit. It's just a little bit too kind of ridiculous. And, you know, people are trapped in their house. And I thought, well, this has got to take place over, you know, some days, and they'll start to get worried. This is days, then weeks, then months, then years. And when you're getting to that level of time trapped in one house, if you're not good enough, I'm sitting there thinking, how thin is the fabric on their pants? Like, how much toothpaste do they have left? Where's all the toilet roll being stored? And there's actually a time jump at one point where the kids get older. I'm like, where did they get grown up clothes? Where?
I mean, from all the dead people.
But they couldn't leave their house.
I mean, they had to leave the house at some point.
No.
Okay, then Dad and Mom were just clothes horses that hoarded and then stashed it away, and because it's the 80s, right? It's made forever.
No, you're getting mixed up. This one's
up.
here now. The other one I'm about to mention is 80s.
Right. Okay, just, my bad. Then, you know, magic.
If it was a better film, I wouldn't necessarily be thinking of those kinds of silly questions. So it's not good enough for that. Wagner Moura is really good and Greta Lee's really good. I don't normally say this, but it won't be one to watch if you're an animal lover, because obviously they do have a scarcity of food, and at one point Wagner Moura's character comes up with something that he calls chimney fishing, because they can access a gap through their chimney just the outside world. So, you know, you can maybe imagine what that entails. And
it's kind of bullshit they didn't just eat one of the kids.
Well, yeah, it's not a good time for animal lovers. So from The Last House, anyway, which, you know, I still gave a middling 6 because I'm still generous and kind. I went along to watch The End of Oak Street, and that is the one set in the 80s. I believe it was 1982. There is no reason for The End of Oak Street to be set in 1982, apart from the fact that they've obviously had a meeting, David Robert Mitchell and producer J.J. Abrams, and producer J.J. Abrams has been saying, I remember we want to make this like a really, old school fun Spielberg movie. And David Robert Mitchell was like, yeah, there's got to be dinosaurs. People have got to wake up. There's got to be dinosaurs in the street. And J.J. Abrams like, yeah, but fully Spielberg, yeah, like set it in the 80s. And I imagine David Robert Mitchell maybe just said, like, why? Like, if you've just been transported to an area where dinosaurs are roaming around your street, you could say, oh, the phones and computers aren't working. I mean, it's very easy.
They are
to
back in
cov-
time.
to cover the bases in
Yeah.
terms of technical. They don't even. I don't want to go into too many details, but it's not even necessarily that they're back in time. Like, you're watching this wondering what has happened because their little cul-de-sac is still there and dinosaurs are going about. But what I will say is they don't really, I don't think they offer a good enough explanation. And I would have preferred either no explanation or something that felt a bit more sturdy and convincing. And this is a real, like, the whole film is kind of a halfway, half-assed job. Yeah.
I mean, it's a J.J. Abrams film, so of course that's all his shit.
Yeah.
That's all his shit. I don't care what it is. It's a halfway, half-assed job. Thanks, JJ.
And I spoke to you guys in the chat and I was trying to word it properly, but it made me realize that David Robert Mitchell hasn't really had like a kind of closed off consequential ending to any of his films. From what I can recall, and I did, I went back through the few he's done before this, and this is in line with this because by the time you get to the end, it's just yeah. I mean, you will shrug. So the performances are fine. It's fine. And again, if I did already mention this last week, because I've already forgotten if I saw this before or after we recorded, I apologize to anyone who's hearing this again. But it's a big title. I will mention it again. A lot of people have enjoyed it. When I've grumbled about it, folk have given me the, are you being a bit harsh? It's just a bit of fun thing. And I'm like, well, no, because it's still like it still should have just been better. It's it's a good premise. We all got excited when we thought Jurassic Park 2 was gonna have loads of stuff with the T-Rex going about the city, and then it turned out to be a admittedly fun 10 to 15-minute sequence near the end of the film.
It was the
But we
whole
wanted
trailer. I
that
was
the whole
so
film.
ready for
Yeah,
that. I
yeah,
still am
we all
angry at
were.
you, Steven.
And this, so like, okay, dinosaurs clashing with a modern family and a modern environment, and it does not do that. You might be unsurprised to hear that there's more disappointment awaiting you on Shudder, Dave. I watched a film called Hellcat. Have you seen Hellcat?
No, but I knew about it and I went, oh, that's gonna, yeah.
Oh, all right, okay, yeah, it's bad. It's I can see what they were trying to go for. This is written and directed by someone named Brock Bodell, and I don't think I've seen any of their other stuff, whether they've done other features or just shorts. But this, yeah, you can tell there were some good intentions here to provide a bit of a twist on one or two horror archetypes, but it does not work at all. And by the time it got to a couple of moments at the end, I was almost laughing at it because it was just not well handled. Didn't really earn anything that it was going for. Was sadly risible. Rewatched.
Rockbro Del. Hold on. Before you move on, he has done other. He was an editor, I think.
Oh,
Besides this, he edited. Oh fuck! It was like two other. I think two other sci-fi or Shutter movies. Deadwater, the Casper Van Dien boat movie. Did you see that with Judd Nelson? Maybe Tyler
no.
made. I think Tyler's the one that talked me into watching that. So never mind then. You shouldn't go back and watch it. Don't go back and watch it. I was like, no, I know you've seen at least one of them, but no, never mind. It was Tyler who talked me into that one, and I have yet to forgive him. I'm sorry for putting that on you. You can move on now. I'm sorry. My bad. My
That's
bad.
fine. That's fine. Rewatched Deep Impact. That was a weekend shared viewing option last week. It popped up on Netflix here, and yeah, it's okay, I guess. There's enough to sort of have fun with and pick apart in Deep Impact, but for as silly and ridiculous as it is, Armageddon is the much more enjoyable film. Just even when the action is shaky and badly shot, it's just like it, it knows that it's out to deliver some fun and entertainment, whereas Deep Impact's like, the end of the world's coming, bummer, eh? That's what it is. And as much as I quite enjoy her in certain roles, like they really had their work cut out for them when they were trying to make Tia Leone a leading lady in blockbuster fare. I don't think there's anything here that really works well enough because she's in that role. No, although Morgan Freeman is reliably Morgan Freeman as the president, and teeny tiny Elijah Wood is racing around. And again, this is another example of something from over 25 years ago that Vicky remembered every detail of. I, I was telling her, looking at her, I was like, how do you remember this? And she goes, oh, it's just, I remember it's Deep Impact. I'm like, you don't remember films we watched 2 weeks ago, unless they're Fast and Furious movies. And then suddenly you're reminding me of the name of the comet. You're telling me how they're going to, race along at a certain point on a bike and be looking for this uphill spot and all that. It's just like, what is going on? So I think somewhere deep down in her brain, she has this great fondness for Deep Impact that just came out as we were rewatching. It's bizarre. And last but not least, I watched Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie. We talked about this a little bit because you have seen some of the show,
I
and
have,
I
yeah.
had not. And I believe the show is kind of, I think, is it the running joke about them trying to book a gig at the same spot? Is
I
it the
mean,
the
they're not.
Tiscali is one in the movie?
Yeah, but they're not really trying to book a gig at the spot.
Yeah,
They're just,
but
yeah.
and there's sort of, there's let's say japes with unsuspecting members of the public around them. So like I would totally understand why you wouldn't be keen to watch this movie.
No.
I think the stuff that has them interacting with the public feels quite minimal here. Like it's quite constant in terms of what they're getting up to and people maybe look around, but kind of in the way that you would just see people, looking with interest if you were passing by while a movie was being filmed. It's that sort of thing. It's not elaborately pranking specific members of the public and running with those jokes. And it's actually like really quite well done. I didn't find it as hilarious as some people did, because I've heard a lot of praise for this one, but I thought it was pretty consistently um, inventive, fun, funny. A lot of the funniest stuff comes from them, sort of, I would say, skirting around copyright audio and visual material, but that wouldn't really be right. They kind of skirt all over it and then present stuff here. And at one point, someone looks at the camera and basically says, "If you see this in the theater, then think yourself lucky, because it'll be a one-off screen." So they know like how much they're trying to get away with in terms of that. And the silly plot is kind of Back to the Future inspired time travel stuff. And yeah, it was good. And as far as I know, I think they used some older footage, because they did the show about 20 years ago when they first started doing that. It was around about that time. And they've just mixed things together really well, and I appreciated the creativity of it, and the it was the right level of silliness for me to still appreciate, even though I had no previous experience with this property. So yeah, I would still tentatively say to you, Dave, oh, at some point you could give it a watch, and I don't think you would hate it as you, or dislike it as you dislike the show, because I do think they know their kind of comfort zone when it comes to improvising and working in public, but they do step away from those kinds of stunts to keep things sort of on the tracks of a movie.
Yeah, because the show does use quite a bit of it.
Yeah,
So
and maybe there's more here than I realized, but I think it's amazing that they did put this together in the final structure that you get. So maybe there's a hell of a lot more there than I realized, and you just you would notice more than me and be annoyed by it. But I do think, like, I think you have to have managed to plan a bit more, and get just the right material for what they pulled together for this. I think that was me. Oh, and I continue to not watch the Shards. How you doing with
lucky,
that, Dave?
not great. I see. The thing is, even if it's just me screaming for 10 minutes at how awful Ryan Murphy is and how Disney needs to cut his ass loose, there will be a mini-sode discussing episode 5 on Wednesday. I just don't know how that's going to look at the moment, and we will see. We will find out together. But in the meantime, I watched a bunch of movies I can't talk about because I'm going to be discussing them with Aaron over on Horror 101 soon. A little preview though, I have watched all 5 Nukem High films and one other trauma. It's been a very Uncle Lloydy week for me. It's been so traumatic. I think I have post-stress traumatism. And it's just, it is what it is, you know? Ah, here's a hint. I actually really like the first 2, Classic Nukem Highs, but I'm not gonna say what I think about the others. But they're fun, especially if you're okay with 80s trauma movies. That's all I'm gonna say. I like them. I enjoy me the Cretans. This week, we watched the 1970 American disaster film Airport and the 1988 American science fiction film Alien from LA. Ah, oh man. I'm gonna go first with Airport. Airport is about an airport manager, Mel, who's played by Burt Lancaster, trying to keep his airport open during a snowstorm, Meanwhile, a suicide bomber plots to blow up a Boeing 707 that's about to take off from his airport that is being piloted by his brother-in-law, played by Dean Martin. It's a story of two men in bad situations, both with, at least emotional affairs on their wife in a snowstorm. Uh, I understand why this was a huge hit when it came out in 1970. Absolutely massive. It made like $130 million, which again, this is 1970. That is a crazy amount, you know? Um, and the cast, I think, well, okay, let me think of a way to phrase this better. The cast is a mixed bag. I think Dean Martin is actually really good in his role. He's got charm. I get it. He's in his 50s, but I understand, I'm not completely squigged out by his affair with a woman 35 years younger than him. Oh, by the way, it made 128 million in 1970. That's 1.1 billion dollars today. So this was a huge, huge hit. Uh, but like he's fine. He plays the character well. You don't dislike him. Uh, Gene Sebring, said that really wrong, is the customer relations head agent at the airport. She's really good with what she's given. And she's not given much. She is backseated so fucking much. Jacqueline Bisset is Dean Martin's love interest, the chief stewardess on the flight. She's fine. George Kennedy is always fun when he shows up. He's does not used as much as I'd have used him in it, but he's fine. He actually is the only character that's in all 4 films in the series. Helen Hayes plays an elderly stowaway, and I enjoyed her. She's fun. She brings a nice comic timing to it, and she's also fine as the the more dramatic bits. Van Heflin plays the suicide bomber. He's good. Maureen Stapleton is wasted. Who else is wasted? Dana Winter is wasted. They're the disposable wives. Like the cast is mostly pretty good. Most of the folks on the plane are fine. Some of the characters feel like filler, especially on the plane. But the cast is fine. The problem with this movie is it is deathly dull for a good, what is it? It's 137 minutes. So of the 2 hours and 17 minutes, I'd say the last half hour, once the plane finally takes off, is really solid. It is a good disaster movie where there's some tension. The cast does well. I am on board. The problem is everything leading up to it, I just don't care much for. Like the cast is fine. There's some nice lines. There's just too much buildup for not enough payoff. There's way too much like where they stop and they talk to you directly about the state of the airline industry and how damn the government for no longer, subsidizing the American airline industry, those bastards. And if we don't get the airports of the future today, there'll be nothing but problems with the local uh neighborhoods that were built next to, and like a lot of that doesn't go anywhere. It's just kind of filler or set dressing, and that's fine, but then they give a lot of time to it. There's a good half hour of them just talking about the state of the airline industry. And you know what? I don't think that was interesting in 1970. It sure as fuck isn't interesting in 2026, and that's the problem. There's just no reason to care about any of this. It is just, I get what it's going for. It is going for an epic, deep story, and it just misses the mark. I think what it does well, it does really well. It just does not come together to justify that runtime for me. It's too predictable. It's too corny, and it is way too weirdly butt sniffing of the airline industry. If you got to watch a movie about a plane going down, watch Airplane. Yeah, just get your airplane on. Surely I am jesting, and don't call me Shirley.
Look, I ended up liking this a little bit more than you did, Dave, but I can't disagree with the fact that it only really takes off, no pun intended, for the last like half hour or so. Um, I I kind of always confuse this, and it's my fault. It's the one I think is the basis for Airplane, but that is 0 Hour, which was about what is it about 20, 10 or 20 years before this one. That was the one with the plot that
Yeah,
Airplane basically lifts wholesale.
I think it's 55, so it's
Yeah,
it's it's a it's a while before this.
but I had this I had this hankering a few years ago, and I was like, I want to. I've never watched. I've never watched the airport movies. As far as I'm aware, I've seen that image of the plane going through the glass. So for me, that's probably from Airplane. But I'm like, one of those films, I think, has something
No,
like that
another
in
one
it.
does do that. Another one does do
Right.
that. I know which one. I know which. If you give me a second to think about it, I haven't seen them in forever, but they used to play. See, the thing is, this isn't a first time watch for me. They used to show these when I was a kid. These were on TV all the time.
Yeah, I think I saw bits of one on TV, and the rest of the stuff isn't. When you're a kid, the rest of the stuff isn't going to hold your interest anyway. So, like, you don't know the older stars that are in the supporting cast. You don't want to go through. Well, nobody wants to go through all that chat about the state of the aviation industry. How they keep needing more help from the government. You don't want all that. But if you see a plane crash through the glass sides of an airport, you're like, oh, I remember that. So I've seen bits of one of them before.
Yeah. Airplane. They go through the window. They do it in one of them also, and I cannot remember which
Yeah.
one. I think in it might be 77 because in 75 they have another plane crash into the cockpit of the plane.
Mm.
See, now, like, I'm thinking, like, I think the others are probably, like, at least 75 might be worth watching. That one's got
I'll
Myrna
bear
Loy in it, so
I'll
maybe
bear
I
that in
am,
mind.
yeah.
But it's but it is what it is. I like Lancaster in his role. Yes, I do like Dean Martin here. I think he's surprisingly good and believable as a smooth professional who's been busy when he gets the chance. Mainly with Jacqueline Bisset. So there's parts of Dean Martin that would be easy to believe anyway, and there's the part where he's got the pilot's uniform on and he's being quite like professionally smooth, not in a slightly slurry whiskey in hand smooth that Dean Martin could do at any opportunity, but convincing, and I like that. Jean Seberg is the woman that I mentioned to you for a lot of this movie. I thought it was Tippi Hedren. I was just so confused. And Van Heflin as the bomber. I thought it was Peter Lorre and had been dubbed, and I was confused there. But they're fine with the roles. Helen Hayes is great. Although I'm wondering when someone went back to digitally erase the pet bird carrier of Tweety Pie that she was taking around with her. Surely that's if they were ever going to, if they had the technology back then to make a real live action Sylvester and Tweety movie, she would have been perfect. She's wonderful. She's playing one of those characters who is underestimated by people and has a twinkle in her eye for most of it. I think it's great. And you said about Maureen Stapleton and Dana Winter being sort of dismissed, and generally I agree. But I did want to say there's a point in this at the end that really impressed me, where Maureen Stapleton's kind of like
Oh, yeah.
devastated and
She's
talking
excellent.
to people. Yeah,
Yeah,
and I was
she's
like,
excellent.
I can't think of another film where I've seen that kind of moment. just someone related to someone who was trying to plot such a a crime or a tragedy, and they're like apologizing and crying, like
Yeah.
their life is gone to complete
Yeah,
shit now.
she's
It's
excellent in it. It's just they
yeah,
underuse her. Like we could have done more with her panic and stuff up to that point.
yeah,
Just in the grand scheme of things, they underuse certain things that are really compelling, like her running when she figures out something's going on. We don't see her for an hour after that. You know?
yeah.
Like
Her only use before the final scenes that allow her to be really impressive is just to like get the plot moving for the airport staff and the plane staff to figure things out eventually, which they would have no clue about if she wasn't sort of digging around and trying to get things sorted. So, but even George Kennedy in this, he's just he, you know, did he have any real need to be here? No, but I kind of had
no.
fun with his sort of one main scene near the end. But yeah, it was they built that up just for him to be there. Um, it's it's strange that I watched this though, and it still feels like a, a comforting afternoon movie, even though it's one I didn't grow up with. Because as I say, I've seen bits of one of them, so I don't have that attachment. But I think maybe just the name itself, like that brand, has that attachment of being the sort of afternoon entertainment you would normally have on TV. And I'm pretty sure I used to see covers of the novel dotted around was Arthur Haley. I think like that might even have the plane going through the window. I don't know, but it was definitely one that cropped up in places. At some point, it was as ubiquitous as Jaws when you saw it in places selling um, secondhand paperbacks and stuff. So yeah, it's
I'll never forget the first time I remember being in an airport. Um and waiting for somebody to come in because this was back in the days when you could go back to the
all
gate
right. Yeah.
and waiting for somebody to come in and seeing one of those one of the kiosks where they sell just shit. The
Mm-hmm.
newsstands is what they call them. And every book there was about a plane crashing or Jaws. It
Wow.
was all about either somebody dying on a beach from an animal or a plane crash. And I remember because I was tiny. This is like a really early memory where it's I think it's what locked into my mind that people are just fucking weird.
It's yeah, it is strange, isn't it? Because it's like once you've been there, then you realize that weird limbo area the airports are, and you realize why you get some writers that are successful with what they call airport novels, like the stuff that would just be there and
Mhm.
be like, yeah, yeah, I can just blast through this while I'm sitting here, and it's an escape, and yeah, so the book itself of Airport or whatever it was titled in book form we won, and as I say Jaws, like I'm pretty sure before I'd seen the film, it was a running joke that every little secondhand market and secondhand bookshop I went to, everybody was suddenly getting rid of their copy of Jaws because they'd already seen the film. And they bought the book and realised, as I eventually did one day, that the film was actually quite a bit better than the book. So it was one of those pleasant exceptions to the general rule. But yeah, I can't. Even if I didn't like this, I I couldn't bring myself to hate it and not be slightly comforted by the glow of the familiarity of it. But I did like it. But I did think we were going to get to the actual airplane action a bit sooner. And I do agree with you. The pacing's an issue, and it's really in the finale that things like are. are definitely, better than anything else.
It's funny because I was literally reading about people complaining about how movies have gotten too long, and it's like, have they? I mean, they've always kind of had that issue. There's always been a lot of
Yeah.
movies that are just you're a half hour longer than you should be. You cut out like 30 minutes of them gushing about the airports of the future and how hard it is to be an airport man, and you got a solid little disaster movie on your hands.
I mean, every one of the big disaster movies was at least 2 hours, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
Clark Gable was in. I think he was in San Francisco. I have memories of that one, watching it when I was a kid about the Great Earthquake, and that was before I tried to watch Clark Gable and Gone with the Wind, because as a kid I wouldn't sit on my backside for about 4 hours, and
Actually, you know what? Poseidon Adventure might be a little bit under 2 hours. I mean, it's, like, really close, but
oh, it might be.
that might be, like, 150, 145. It's close, but it's not quite there. Or I could be misremembering entirely. This is just off the top of my head.
And I'm pretty sure, like, even The Swarm is about 2 hours.
Yeah. I mean, like, Towering Inferno is almost 3 hours, I know that. So I tried to watch that with Killa recently, and whoo, that did not go over well. Earthquake's like 210. Yeah, they're all
Yeah.
pretty long.
You know what isn't so long is Alien from LA, Dave. Your
That was a
pick.
beautiful transition.
Thank you. The Albert Pyun choice for this week. Yeah. Have you had this one in mind for a while? For any
Simmering,
particular
baby.
reason? Yeah.
Simmering. Well, yeah, one much like Airport, this used to be on TV all the time as a child, and I bought the beautiful, beautiful Blu-ray from Vinegar Syndrome several months ago, and it's just been waiting to be unwrapped.
Right.
Waiting.
Right.
Beautiful.
Well, I mean, I need to sum it up really. Kathy Ireland stars as Wanda. Wanda Saknussemm? I forget how you pronounce that. I think it's
Wanda
uh,
Saknussemm.
she's at the start of the movie. She's shown being dumped by a just pretty douchey boyfriend who's uh, basically saying she's too dull, she's not adventurous, and yeah, she'd never want to get up to any adventures that he might be interested in. So that times nicely just before she gets a letter informing her that I mean, doesn't the letter say, or she says at some point, my my dad's fallen into a bottomless pit and died. Like, that's the
The
full
letter says it.
explanation.
Yeah, that's the full explanation. Your dad must have fallen into a bottomless pit and is dead. Yes, that
um,
is it.
like, just crazy. So obviously she flies off to deepest Africa, is how it's described in the movie, and she's going to check out the things that may have belonged to her deceased father. He was going on about Atlantis, funnily enough, and then Wanda ends up finding a way to get deeper and deeper underground. She meets someone there quite quickly who's a hunky underground dweller named Gus, played by William R. Moses. And yeah, the two of them end up in a bit of trouble because Wanda is the alien from LA in that world. So, she may have a chance to find her dad if he's not dead at the bottom that doesn't exist at that bottomless pit. Or she may just have to keep running and find her escape. This this was wild, Dave. This this is another one of those films that you and Craig have made me watch a lot of these, where it feels like someone wrote the plot summary in crayon somewhere as a kid.
I mean,
And then later
they
on,
did.
they got some money and they were like, oh, I've always liked this idea. It's very simple. It's very, it's very childishly fantastical. And like, that's not always a bad thing. I know we've watched some films where that is a bad thing, but this works a bit better than some of the others we've seen because of it's a really cute performance from Kathy Ireland as Wanda. She's very adorable. She's just like she's a good presence in that role, and she's quite fun when she's being uh, goofy and a bit nerdy. And then she develops slightly as the film plays out, and she's you know caught between a rock and a hard place really when she's this wanted alien. Um, I think it's good, and if I remember right, I was trying to check out some background on this. I'm sure you have much more information on this than I do, but I think this was her first acting role. I don't think she necessarily looked at that as a career, or maybe she'd done some modeling, or she was picked anyway, and I
Yeah,
think she does well enough.
she didn't even do a screen test. Albert
Right,
Pyun just saw a photo of her and went, "That one."
right, okay.
She actually she did take acting lessons after being cast, but yeah, that was her first movie.
That's always the best way to do things, isn't it? Get cast in a
Hmm.
movie and then start taking some acting lessons. I think she has a really uh, good amount of natural talent and works well in it. So Pyun's instincts were right, and that's that's a big plus for this movie because the rest is the rest is just like silly and a bit cheap, but it kind of moves fast enough not to be too much of a bother. Bizarrely, some moments to me felt like it was a really, really, really scraping the barrel, low budget precursor to some Super Mario Brothers movie. Uh, and I'm all about the Hoskins Leguizamo Super Mario Brothers movie, not anything official and in line with the games. It's just got that. It's it's that same level of strangeness. Um, Attempts to sort of dress the set adequately for a couple of main areas, and then silly lightness by the time it gets along to the finale. Like you never watch this and think, oh, Wanda's in big trouble now. You just think, oh, she's got to stumble around a while, and then I'm sure everything will work out okay for her. Which is fine. Like Pune just makes that clear from the start. Here's this cute young woman in this film. We're going to put her in. It's kind of positioned as we're going to put her in an adventure because someone has started the film saying she has no sense of adventure, and that's what it is. And that was fine. I thought it was cute. I thought it was likable. It's just under an hour and a half. Uh, you know, it's a Canon film for those who like to seek out such fare anyway. And the rest of the cast are okay. There's Tom Matthews, who is still best known, I guess, for Return of the Living Dead. He was in one of the Friday 13th as well, wasn't he?
Uh,
I think.
yeah, yeah, he
I can
was. He
never.
was he was
I can
Tommy
never remember.
Jarvis in
Of
Jason
course he
Lives.
was. Yes,
Yeah.
in the old one. But no, nobody else really stands out. Oh well, no, I tell a lie. I think I think you have made us watch more Deep Roy movies than
Yeah.
I ever thought we would watch. Because you picked some other film that Deep Roy was in. I
Yeah.
can't recall which one it was. And then he's in this. I'm like, I'm pretty sure this guy is becoming one of my most watched actors on the podcast because of fucking Dave.
I mean, maybe not most, but he's
Definitely
we've we've
more than
dipped
I
in there
expected.
fairly often, yeah.
Um, but yeah, as I say, this is like I enjoyed it, and it was cute, and it was fun, and it's not one I would like readily recommend to other people unless they knew, you know, the kind of Canon Films vibe and the silliness of some Albert Pyun movies. But yeah, it was all right.
I I really like Alien from LA. I bought it months ago. I wanted an excuse to show it to my niece. Despite there being some problematic things with modern day Kathy Ireland, we're not talking about that. We're talking about the 80s version. Fun fact. So Saknussemm, her character's last name, do you know where that originates from? Come on, you got it. You can think of this one. You can take a wild
Newsome.
guess. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is it
And
something to do with the sea?
it has something to do with Jules Verne's Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Oh,
That is what starts it off. They find a manuscript that translates from Arnie Saknussemm that translates into him having gone to the center of the earth, them following that journey.
do you think I've read Journey to
I
the Center of the
thought,
Earth?
yeah, there was actually a pretty good chance that you had read Journey to the or seen a movie version. There's only like 8 billion of them.
I've seen movie versions, but I can't recall that.
You're gonna tell me you didn't see the one with
I've
Brendan
not.
Fraser, which 100% uses Saknussemm's message?
Oh, I think I have, but I
Yeah.
couldn't remember that
Yeah.
name.
Mhm. Or
Yeah,
the
it's
James
sad that I've
Mason
not.
version.
Sad that I've not read
Uh,
the book. Oh, the James Mason version is great, and I'm still
Also,
annoyed I can't do a good James Mason impression.
me too. Also goes for Sack Newsome. I'm just saying, you had that touchstone within you. You just chose not to reach deep enough for it.
Hmm.
Uh, the cast is a bunch of folks who would go on to have pretty solid careers. William R. Moses, who plays Gus, who's her main sidekick, went on to have a long ass career in TV movies. He was in like 20 Perry Mason TV movies. Even the ones that they did after Raymond Burr died. He was a long running secondary character in the Jane Doe series, which starred Leah Thompson in the early mid 2000s, mid to late 2000s. Their mystery series. Dude just like worked continuously. I think he's still going and stuff. Tom Matthews, yes, Jason Lives, Return of the Living Dead, and Return of the Living Dead Part 2. One of those actors that if you watch as many bad movies as we do, you go, hey, it's Tom Matthews. He's great. He actually now owns a construction company, and they're the folks that remodeled the Osbournes' home way back in the day when the Osbournes was a reality show. How's that for a deep cut?
Wow.
Linda Kitteridge plays Roris Furkey, the absolutely gorgeous bartender that they're with temporarily. Kitteridge is an Australian model and actress who was in another movie we covered many years ago, Fade to Black. Her main career shtick was doing a Marilyn Monroe impersonation. She's also in Surf 2, which someday we will watch, and I am so sorry about that. Uh I know there's one or two others I can rattle things off about. Yeah, we've seen a lot of Deep Roy movies. We've we haven't done Greystoke, Legend of Tarzan, Lord of the Apes yet.
Wow.
And to
Full
be fair,
enough, that is a film in general that I've thought over the past few years. I really need to check that out again because there's been no good reworking of Tarzan. Oh, I didn't see the Disney one, but that last one with the Skarsgård, that could have been good, and it just wasn't.
Well, see, I skipped that one. I was thinking about it. God, what Deep Roy? Well, I mean, he was in Planet of the Apes, and that was a Craig pick. We haven't done Neverending Story yet. We did do Dark Crystal. That was me, and Alien from L.A. and Return of the. Did we do Return of the Jedi? I can't remember. We did. He is in several Star Trek things we watch, and this is Spinal Tap. Yeah, okay, that's my bad. Looking at it, yeah, almost all of the Deep Roy. That's on me. And I'm not
Yeah,
done
I
yet.
think so.
I mean, Deep Roy's got like 100 more credits, dude. We haven't even scratched the surface. We haven't watched the Eddie Murphy Haunted Mansion yet. October's coming. Hold your breath, because
Wow.
it's gonna be glorious. I'm kidding. I really like Alien from LA. It's and a lot of Albert Pyun. And I'm gonna say something that ties into my views on trauma. And I've said it a lot. If you've listened to us, you know this is one of my favorite phrases. I absolutely love the let's go put on a show vibe and aesthetic that a lot of B movies and direct to video directors did, and Pune does it. But he has it where he is so high concept and so low budget, but he does his best and he makes it work. Atlantis in this feels like a real sci-fi place. They do the work to make the costuming work and the world pop, and I really do appreciate it as a piece of film. You can see the inspiration from Alien. It's Alien and Blade Runner, but underground instead of in space. And I think they make it work as well because they made this movie for like fucking nothing. I haven't actually seen an actual amount, but it is Albert Pyun for Canon, which means it was not a lot of money, even in. Oh, okay, here we go. This was made for under a million. So, I mean, they did a lot for what's a little. And, I think they did really well with it. It's something that I think is kind of gone from wide release stuff these days. This is a cheapo adventure movie with a lot of charm, and it's not serious. And it's weird that people seem to have taken it seriously. The reviews on Rotten Tomatoes are absolutely brutal. A lot of people just really roll their eyes at it, but I think it's got a lot of charm. I think it's got a lot of grit. I absolutely love Tom Matthews' parts. I don't know why he shows up at the end, but I'm glad that he does. I mean, this is the ending I want. It gives me what I want, and it fills me with joy. I enjoy the shit out of Alien from LA, and I will stand by that. Not just the nice, Blu-ray. I have the MST3K episode also. Love that too. It's a good one. This was worth checking out for me.
Can I
There
say,
is
Dave, and
there is a
you,
sequel.
you might disagree. Is there? Oh my.
In
Um,
1989, they did a Journey to the Center of the Earth sequel where Ireland does come back, also directed by Pune, and Ireland comes back as Wanda Saknussemm. I don't think she's not like a big character, but she does show up again. I've never seen it, but we might change that.
someone somewhere in some rep cinema should double bill this with Michael J. Murphy's Atlantis movie, and that would be low budget Atlantean awesomeness.
That would be amazing.
Yeah,
But
it really would. Yeah,
yeah,
I
I
would
mean,
love that.
we might we might have to watch the Journey to the Center of the Earth film because it does star Emo Phillips as a dog named Nimrod. I'm just putting that out there. I can't think of anything more I want ever. Although, yeah, that's a good plan too. Triple feature, just make it a marathon. It is time to pick one. And for me, it is Alien from LA. I'm sorry, Airport, you huge budget monster opus of a disaster film, I had more fun with Alien from LA. I I don't I I have no excuse. It's fun. I enjoyed it.
Uh, that's fair. For me, for that comfort and glow, Airport just gets the edge. Just very different vibes from each movie, but I enjoyed. I think I enjoyed both more than I expected to enjoy them. Actually,
Reasonable. Yeah, actually, me too. I hadn't seen Alien from LA in a long, long time. I expected it to be much more painful than it was, but no, I enjoyed the crap out of it. So, yay for me. And Airport is fine. I get it as a comfort film. I really do. It just didn't bring comfort to me this time. Next week, we're saying goodbye to the month with a visit from our buddy John. John is having us watch low budget films. And the movies we'll be watching are, oh crap, Craig changed his. Did I write it down? Okay, John is making us watch Gut Boy. I am making us watch Beyond the Infinite 2 Minutes. Oh, Craig is making us watch The Magician. And Tyler, in true Tyler fashion, is bringing a Polish film. Polish film about, I believe they're ladies of the evening, called Picture of Beauty. Although you won't be here for the pain I'm going to feel next week. And I hate you for
no,
that.
sadly, no.
So in order to make it up to me, you can give him to Bidness.
Oh, sure. You can check us out on YouTube where the episodes go, the minisodes go, and I finally did a little video this week after
I saw that.
my lovely other half said, "Oh, are you still doing your little videos? It's been a while." And I said, "Well, the minisodes go up," but then I started to get tempted. I was like, "Oh, I've got more post due." So there will be another minisode due soon at some point as well. You can email us at raidersofthepodcast@gmail.com. Send us comments, questions, compliments, insults. That's all good. Like and subscribe and rate and review us anywhere you get podcasts. We're on Instagram, Raiders_of_the_podcast. We're on, well, I'm on Mastodon. We're on Blue Sky. We're on Facebook. We're generally everywhere you can put tendrils out on the internet, apart from the bad places that are run by bigoted fascists, because we just can't be bothered.
Yeah. As always, thanks for listening. Thanks for joining me, Kevin. I will not talk to you next week. I'll talk to you in 2 weeks, but I'll talk to everybody else next week.
See ya.
What the hell was that?